Hi, this is Sarah Franklin from Impact Data, and I'm joined today by Troy Coker, Wi-Fi expert, for another one of our partner chats. Hi, Troy. How are you going?
Hi, Sarah. Very well, thank you. Despite everything.
Despite everything, that's probably.
Despite everything.
Troy, today I just wanted to talk a little bit about Wi-Fi and why it's so important for business. So, why is having guest Wi-Fi critical for business?
It's pretty simple. Database growth. It's a service as well as obviously a lot of guests that don't have serious data packs on their mobile devices that look for it and move from venue to venue if Wi-Fi isn't available. But from our perspective, it's really about database growth. From the end customer's perspective, it's about database growth, and it's often an overlooked investment with regards to leveraging that sunk cost that's already in the venue. Lots and lots of venues that we come across aren't leveraging the Wi-Fi for capturing data as people log into Wi-Fi. Consistently, I'm seeing open networks with customers allowing people just to click through. I mean, what we're actually doing in that instance as a customer is we're entering into a contract. And we're saying to the guest, we'll give you free Wi-Fi if you give us just a little bit of information about yourself. So primarily database growth. Some customers might say, well, I don't want customers loitering after too long. I've got a counter argument against that. If they're loitering, sell them something. Use TalkBox to get them to come back another time. We can't do that if we don't know who they are. So Wi-Fi is very important for that purpose.
Yeah, it absolutely is. We've got a great example of Wi-Fi being used in some quick serve and cafes where it becomes your digital punch card, your coffee card, because we know when you're there. But the fundamental difference between using Wi-Fi to measure visits like that and using a paper card is as you say, Troy, we know who they are, but more importantly, we know when they've stopped coming, which is really valuable from a marketer's perspective, because we can say, hey, Troy, do you know you've only got 2 more visits before your free coffee? We can actually tell you that now and remind you to come back. Yeah, so that's so not only is it that database growth, it can be used as a proxy for loyalty, right?
Correct, yeah. And there's lots of venues out there as well that don't have Wi-Fi. And so between ourselves, we've got enough metrics to provide an ROI to those businesses that want to justify that Wi-Fi spend. So for those venues that don't have Wi-Fi, we can help in those circumstances as well.
Absolutely. And we've seen some phenomenal database growth, haven't we, with our clients here and across Southeast Asia and in the UK. Simply just having a guest Wi-Fi service can grow your database. And interestingly, I remember an example we had in Adelaide where they'd had a database program for a long period of time. They'd been collecting customer details, but as soon as we put Wi-Fi in, we saw that there was 40% of customers that they didn't know before, and then we found out that they were regulars. So, yeah, really important.
Yeah, and so by using Wi-Fi as well, we capture in the back end at the hardware layer, we capture the MAC address of the device. So we can actually feed into TalkBox these metrics, which allow us to do some behavior, or allow Impact Data at least to do some behavioral based campaigning based on last time seen. So we will use the Wi-Fi as a means to understand whether Troy's been in a venue or not for in the last week, 2 weeks, month, or whatever it might be. So Wi-Fi is a good platform for that to learn.
Absolutely. That leads to my next question is, as a customer, do I have to log into your guest Wi-Fi service every time to be recognised, or not?
It depends on the customer, whether they want that to happen. We have the concept of seamless logging. Just like you and I will go home tonight and you will seamlessly roam onto your home Wi-Fi. You won't manually set that up. You will have done that on your iPhone or your Android device once in the past sometime. And we use the same concept in venues for seamlessly roaming in and out of a venue. Now, we can welcome people back to a venue if you like, by first name. Welcome, Troy. Good to see you back. Once you've logged on once. But typically what we do is every 30 to 60 days is we reset that because we only have this concept of IP addresses. There's only, I can get technical, but I prefer not to. There's only a finite number of IP addresses in an internal range. So if we haven't seen you for 30 days, then we'll release that IP address back in again and have you log back in once more. Or we can override that if we wish. It just depends on the requirement.
But importantly, we know that they've been there, even if they haven't logged back in, don't we?
Correct. If they've logged in once, then we will understand scarily their movements in and out of the venue.
Well, that's
Their brother is watching.
Well, it's part of the relationship we have with customers, isn't it? Really, which is important. So, Troy, obviously, as we mentioned right at the beginning, it's some trying times for venues at the moment. How can a Wi-Fi solution help ease businesses out of shutdown and, more importantly, beyond? Because we're obviously getting to that phase now.
Well, if we talk about the beyond first, lots of businesses that I've spoken to have been caught short with regards to either no database or a very low quality or bad quality database that hasn't been kept healthy, if you like, for want of another word. And so we can help those businesses now prepare for, God forbid, COVID-20 by using Wi-Fi as a means to build either an initial database or append to an existing database and get some quality back into that database. I might have come into a database in a venue through a membership web page and not have updated any of my information because I didn't have the means to do that. When I log in, as you and I know, we'll use certain fields to match so that Troy isn't duplicated in that database, but some additional information is added to that database. So we can help grow a database for the next horrible event that might be around the corner. And also, we've been talking about what's the term for it, touchless or touchless menus, effectively. So we can redirect to an online menu, and that menu might be just their standard menu, or it might be a menu with some discounts against it. So with some in-venue marketing around first-time Wi-Fi login, we can redirect to a particular menu somewhere on the internet that we can host, which gives them certain discounts and also helps with compliance around the COVID-19 response.
Absolutely. I mean, just coming back to your original point, the most important thing that I guess Wi-Fi service will do for business is give them people to talk to, right? And whether it's telling your takeaway story, whether it's actually getting customers back in, you need to be able to talk to them. So, Troy, can I just ask, how does a guest Wi-Fi service connect with a TalkBox account that Impact Data provides?
Well, there's a technical answer and there's a non-technical. I'll give you the non-technical. It's
That's
pretty
a good
simple.
one to start with.
Some smart developers built some code that allows the various captive portals, our captive portal, to connect into TalkBox in real time. So basically, it's all set up at the front end of an engagement, an Impact Data engagement, and all happens seamlessly. So when Troy walks into venue, logs into Wi-Fi for the first time via a nice glitzy splash page, which can be built according to brand standards for that venue or that group, then Troy's profile will go across into TalkBox in real time. Now, what the customer and Impact Data decide to do with that data, whether they wish to deal with that data immediately or via an automation or somewhere down the track, is completely up to Impact Data and the end customer. But basically, it's a cloud connector. It's pretty simple. It doesn't break, and it provides real-time updating of your back-end TalkBox database.
And I think the important thing is the venue themselves don't have to do anything, right? We make sure between the guest Wi-Fi service and ourselves that work's done for them. Can you just tell me a little bit? You mentioned the word captive portal, Troy. Some people might not know what that is. Can you just give me a little bit more detail about that?
So, external captive portal is if you imagine a scenario where you walk into a pub or a club, you're looking for Wi-Fi because you've either been incented to do that via a campaign, or you're just looking for Wi-Fi because you're a backpacker in Darwin, or whatever it is. The act of searching for Wi-Fi and looking for Acme Hotel free Wi-Fi and clicking that button on your iPhone, your iPad, or your Android device, etc., that's where we come in. So we will splash down from a captive portal
Mhm.
We'll splash down a page which is branded and ask for information from that patron or potential patron in exchange for their free internet access, whether it's timed or database or data usage based or it's unlimited. We can, depending on the hardware layer, specify those conditions.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what a captive portal is basically. There's lots of them. Our
Mhm.
captive portal talks to impact data in real time. That's the difference.
That's the critical part. Okay, so speaking of data, which we've done a little bit about, my last question is there so as an impact data person, we see the data that Guest Wi-Fi provides, and as you mentioned before, we do automations for clients, and we really use that data to figure out when a person has been visiting, or more importantly, when they haven't, and we trigger communications. But as a Guest Wi-Fi provider, what other data can help business that might go into a BI tool or might be available through separate reports, and how can they use that data?
So we can provide to impact data upon request. We can provide the MAC address. So not just my surname and my email address and doing that data matching. The MAC address of that device can come across into impact data, and from the BI perspective, that's important for the behavioural-based type reporting that we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
It provides some anonymity when you're rolling up into dashboards. We can do we can ask for custom fields. So basically, if you wish to know what someone's favourite food is or whatever it might be, we can do a drop down around that rather than just a free text field. We can do a drop down, etc., around many different things around date of birth. We just have to be really, from the marketing perspective, we have to be really careful about what this concept of friction, asking for too much information at the front end. We want to have enough information to be able to identify the patron and to be able to communicate with them. So, generally, in general terms, we'll ask for a first name, last name, and an email address.
Mm-hmm.
If you want some instantaneous type campaigning, then we can ask for a mobile number up front.
Mm-hmm.
But we're getting up to that 4 fields now, definitely no more than 4 fields. Some other interesting things that we're doing with customers is this whole concept of member or not a member, local or not a local. We just had this idea of introducing simple buttons to depress one or the other, almost like a Boolean type thing, like a true or false or a yes or a no, in the back end in the database to identify this patron is a member if you don't have membership integration. And also lots of venues. One in particular that's just emailed me to enable that function. Want to know who are the locals and who aren't the locals, basically. If we're going to spend money, or if they are going to spend money on a channel that costs like SMS as opposed to free email, they don't want to be sending an SMS to a German backpacker who was in the pub 3 months ago and is now back in Munich. We can just ask a simple question via a button. Are you from here or whatever, and make it as professional or as corny as you like. It's not in the person logging on's interest not to answer that honestly, and the sky's not going to fall in if they don't. But generally, people will answer that question fairly honestly. And we can also do things like surveys on the journey on the way into free Wi-Fi. And so for timeshare lead generation, which we're doing in Singapore and Fiji, we'll ask those 3 questions that timeshare providers want to know. Are you over the age of 35? Are you married? Blah, blah, blah. Now, we can ask for free text responses to that, but who's going to digest all that? Who's going to make sense of that? So typically you'll ask a question that requires a yes, no, or a true or false, and then we can actually ingest that or push that across into TalkBox. And now you've got some interesting stuff to do marketing against, as well as we can tag. So we can tag events. If there's a big UFC fight on, we can create a specific SID for you, or we could make the assumption that that Sunday morning, everyone who logged in between 10 and 3 UFC fans, just making that assumption, we can tag them. So, Troy might be tagged Wi-Fi because I came into that database through Wi-Fi, and I can also have multiple tags. I might have seamlessly roamed back in during a UFC fight. I'll be tagged UFC. So for the next big McGregor fight, if he ever fights again, you can just do some segmented marketing out of your database, particularly to those UFC fight fans. So that's some of the interesting stuff that we can do.
Yeah,
in
that's
conjunction
really
with impact
valuable.
data.
Yeah, and one of the other examples that we've seen, one of the things I like to say to businesses about why Wi-Fi is important is Wi-Fi can help tell you whether you've got enough staff or too many staff, because the difference between how many people that you can see on your Wi-Fi network versus how much you actually did in sales can be quite a big you know gap, or because perhaps you've got not enough people to serve the Wi-Fi traffic, the traffic that is indicated by Wi-Fi, particularly if you're a cafe or things like that, and you can see that people are waiting, but you're not seeing that in your sales. So, that can indicate to you that you don't have enough staff on, and vice versa. You could see that, from your roster, you've got a heap of staff on, but your revenue's, okay, but there's actually not that many people in your logging on through Wi-Fi. So it's another business tool, I think, and we can look outside its impact in marketing as actually a really important part of the mix to understanding your path to profit, really.
Yeah, true. And state by state, with regards to the responsible serving of alcohol, we've got a soon to be released feature which is going to allow us to, at the Wi-Fi login point, to press a button around, are you over the age of 18, yes or no, basically. So over the age of 18, to press yes, get free Wi-Fi, be redirected to promotional alcohol campaign, hosted somewhere on the internet. This is independent of having their date of birth, which we necessarily won't have at the front end if they're not pre-existing in the database. And if it's no, we'll redirect them to Bananas and Pajamas webpage, right? So these are the sorts of things we can do on the journey, and if customers require this, that feature is just around the corner.
Fantastic. Well, Troy, I certainly learned a bit more about Wi-Fi that I didn't know today. So thank you very much for joining me on our Impact Data Partner Chat. And if our customers, friends, prospects are interested in learning about Wi-Fi, they can contact us, and obviously we'll do the introduction, because really we do like to work hand in glove with our Wi-Fi partners. And I think you'd appreciate Wi-Fi is great, but Wi-Fi connected to a marketing platform is better.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Thanks, Sarah. Thank you. Thanks for your time.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.